Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk about how to use and build Kreuger. So first off, he is in the Dark and Mythical faction. And now we're going to look at his level 70 max stats for both classes. So Evil God is a demon class. He has much more HP. Everything is a little bit higher. Well, it's able to attack it, which doesn't matter. And then the Shatter class is a mage class with less stats, but in PvP, you probably want to consider using Shatter to not get countered by holy units. But PvE, sorry, you definitely should go with Evil God. Dark faction and Mythical faction mages or demons are usually very strong debuffers, and Kreuger is also another one. His talent here, Dark God's Descent. For every one debuff on an enemy unit on the map, this unit's damage plus 1, 2, 3, 5% at 6 stars up to 6, 12, 18, 30% at 6 stars. So what this means is if there are 6 debuff on the opponent's side, this unit's damage will maximum increase to 30%. After dealing damage, 50, 60, 80, and 100% chance at 6 stars, chance to confer 1 buff to debuff on the targets. The more debuffs the enemies have, the more damage you can deal, and if they have buffs, you can confer one of the buff to a debuff. Kreuger's debuff list: Silence, movement -2, cannot guard, heal block, 20% HP fixed damage, passive block, unbuffable. So basically same as Bozel. Bonding requirement: first 3 are straightforward, the 4th one you will need Shalinka, the 5th one you will need Gizaroth. I think you can probably omit the 5th one if you don't have Gizaroth. He doesn't need to do a lot of damage, and he doesn't do a lot of damage. Well, he can do a lot of damage, yes, but you don't really need to deal a lot of damage to use him since he's mainly a debuffer. Now we're going to go over these skills. Lightning Strike costs 1, cooldown 1, range 2, span single, attacks a single enemy dealing 1.5 times damage, effective against cavalry. He is pretty strong with AoE and single target, so Lightning Strike would be good depending on who you have to fight. Forget costs 2, cooldown 3, range 3, span 3. Magic damage attacks multiple enemy units dealing 0.3 times damage, also disables all passive skills for 2 turns. Since he has a lot of strong AoE, so the chance of you bringing Forget would be very, very slim. Dark Reaper costs 2, cooldown 2, range 2, span single. Magic damage attacks a single enemy dealing 1.3 times damage, ignores 30% of enemy's magic defense. After battle, restores 50% of damage dealt as HP. If you are using single target, this is probably his strongest single target skill. With his talent proc, you might deal crazy damage with Dark Reaper. Acid Burns costs 2, cooldown 3, range 3, span 3. Attacks multiple enemy units, dealing 0.3 times damage, inflicting cannot be healed for 2 turns. Now we have an exclusive skill for him. Feast of the Night costs 2, cooldown 5, that's very long. Range self, span 5. That's very far. So it's like Lolly Bozo's 3C range. Magic damage attacks enemies within 5 blocks of self for 0.3 times AoE damage and inflicts 1 random debuff on each target. Also causes all allies within range to gain damage dealt plus 10% and actively attacking in battle. Heal 15% of damage dealt as HP after battle. So this deals damage, deals 1 random debuff, and your allies will deal 10% extra damage and heals 15% after battle. Dark Dragon Breath costs 2, cooldown 5, range 5, span 3 lines. Magic damage attacks all enemies within 3 straight lines, dealing 0.36 times damage, AoE damage. Effective against holy units, also inflict 1 random debuff effect. Quite a few heroes have this skill, very strong, deals a lot. Okay, we have a very interesting skill here. Dark Barrier. Costs 1 only, cooldown 4, range 3, span single. Trust me, this skill is broken. As an assist, active use, grants 1 target Dark Barrier. The barrier prevents damage up to 20% of max HP. Last 2 turns cannot be dispelled. After use, may move 2 blocks and attack. When using this skill, buffs on this unit will not be reduced in duration. So this Dark Barrier shield, if your enemy doesn't break that shield, they cannot deal damage to your character. And then also, for example, if you have to fight against Chris or Shifanios 3C, let's say if you're a demon class, they cannot stun you until they break that barrier. And this is also an act against skill for Kreuger. Black Hole, which we all should be very familiar, cost 2, cooldown 5, range 3, spam 4 magic damage, attacks multiple enemies within range, dealing 0.36 times AoE damage, deals 2 random debuffs to each unit. Awakening skill, aka 3C, Overwhelming Evil, cost 3, cooldown 5, range all, spam single. Range all means it's the whole freaking map. Okay, there's 2 parts to this. So first part is active use, inflict evil on the target. When ending action, 3 allies within 3 blocks will be given 3 random debuffs, last 3 turns. This effect cannot be dispelled. This skill then becomes Dark Abyss. This is more useful in PvP. I think PvE not really, because for PvE you want that instant debuff instead of waiting for enemy phase to end, where the target that you selected to end their action, then the other allies will receive the debuff. So that's, you want it right away for PvE, but for PvP very strong because now your allies have to stay away from him 3 blocks. Debuff list is attack in -10%, defense -10%, magic defense -15%, damage taken plus 10%, and damage dealt -10%. Okay, part 2 of 3C, it becomes Dark Abyss after you use the Overwhelming Evil. Magic damage, attacks enemies within 5 blocks of self for 0.36 times AoE damage, inflicts 2 random debuffs on each target for every 1 enemy hit. Overwhelming Evil cooldown -1. After use, this skill becomes Overwhelming Evil. Does a lot of damage and good debuff. So basically, if you hit 5 enemies, you can use your 3C right away again. You guys check out the bottom. That's where the debuff list of Dark Abyss. Okay, recommended weapon. Red Moon is really good because if you, well, most likely you're bringing, I'm pretty sure you're bringing Dark Barrier. So the more HP you have, the stronger that shield is, and then the more in, the more damage you deal. Miracle Staff for optimal AoE damage and maximum debuff. If you don't have any of the above, you can use Blue Moon. Blue Moon is also very strong. Recommended armor, Tenyo's Robe. Still the best for mages and, well, demon mages as well. Death's Robe. Death's Robe is to prevent getting crit by maybe Ares AoE or by assassins, but this is more catered to PvP. If you don't have any of the above and you only do play PvE, Galaxy Cloak will be a good enough placeholder. Recommended helmet, Tenyo's headdress. Very good on him, especially the first turn when you use 3C in turn 1 for PvP, and now you can have a chance to grant a buff to your allies. Soul Stealer headdress, this one is good for maximum debuff. If you don't have any of the items above, you can also try using Dark Crown. The stats are suitable for him. There are other choices that are also worth mentioning, such as the Drizzle Wreath and the Witch Hat. They both give up 10% HP plus, and it helps increases Kreuger's survivability while increasing the Dark Barrier's strength. Recommended accessories. Swordsmith Metal is one of the best in general for mages in my opinion because it prevents you from getting silent effect and then immune to fixed damage and gives off very high defense and magic defense. Fedar Rose is a very good combination with his talent. Don't forget that his talent converts one of the buffs into a debuff, and if they have more than 1 debuff, now you have another 50% chance to dispel one of their buff. Star Earrings, prevent yourself from getting killed by assassins and maybe Illustrio. Just having Star Earring equipped might not be enough to prevent yourself from not getting killed. You probably also need to have Death Robe. Juggler Pushy is also a very decent choice. This accessory can extend 1 extra turn for the Dark Barrier, and also Feast of the Night, it will help increase the healing effect on your allies after battle. If you do play tank push and play a supportive Kreuger, then I think Juggler Plushie wouldn't be a bad choice. Enchant Choices, Full Moon. Full Moon gives you optimal damage, the max damage you can get. He can deal so much damage with his talent. Breeze can't go wrong on any character, to be honest. Especially in PvP, if you have a Breeze prop, you might be in range to hit everyone with your 3C. Breeze, you can just do an unpredictable action. Magic for maximum AoE damage. If you're using Magic, I think you should use Miracle Staff. If you're using Breeze or Full Moon, then you probably want to use Red Moon or Blue Moon. Clock is not recommended because you cannot proc Clock on 3C. So with 6 clocks, you most likely will be bringing 3C, Dark Barrier, and another AoE skill or a single target skill. Of course, aside from the 3C and the Dark Barrier, you can clock those, but I don't know if you want to use clock just for that 30% to clock prop 1 skill. I feel like the value is not there. Enchant stats, I'll make this short, basically always int before HP, and then after you can choose defense or magic defense, up to you. I would probably choose defense if you are going to play PvP, magic defense probably in PvE. Okay, lastly, soldier choices. Crystal Warlock, if you're fighting against physical damage heavy opponents, then Crystal Warlock will help him survive. And on the other hand, if you are facing magic damage heavy units, then you want to use Sorceress. Or if you want to deal maximum damage output, if you're using single target skills, then Sorcerers are the troops that you want to go with. And for this video, hopefully this video helps you understand how to use and build Kreuger. Thanks for watching.